I am live in the
I think I'm
house.
live too. It's not really later. It is kind of. It's later for you. No, it's later for
No,
me, but it's actually the clock's just different.
yeah, you're now only 5 hours
Yep.
behind
I'm
me
only
rather than six. But next week ours
right.
go forward, so
Okay,
we'll
so
be
you
back to
guys do the
back.
daylight savings time also. It's just a couple of weeks after we do it. That's all. So
Yeah,
we'll be back to our regular times then, 2:30 and
6 p.m. your time.
no. Well, is that going to be for Thursday?
6 p.m. It's 6 p.m. Thursday, midnight my time Thursday.
Okay, so
Um,
6 p.m. So for this coming Thursday, then it'll be no, it'll
no,
be
uh,
it'll still be 6 o'clock my time
6 o'clock your time, and then it's 11. It's 11 o'clock
because
my time because I've got.
when does the change in time happen for you?
It happens. I think it happens kind of at 2 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, so it's next
So
weekend for us. So yeah,
all
you're
right,
quite
so
right.
we're only 5 hours apart for this Thursday.
Well
So really,
pointed out.
instead of 6, I should come on at 7, unless you want to go an hour earlier,
I'll go an hour earlier
which
because
will
it
throw
makes.
everybody on.
Well, if I go, this is what I did last Thursday. I came on at 11 o'clock, which still made it 6 p.m. your time.
We can do that.
So
So I'll
the
start at 6 o'clock.
majority are in the States, so it doesn't sort of
Right.
upset their apple cart, and it makes it better for those in the UK because it's an hour earlier. I've got a load online now. I'm going to say hello to them all. We've got Dawn. Dawn's in hospital at the moment, bless her. She's watching from her
Oh,
bed, bless her.
well, welcome, Dawn.
Hi, Cor. Hi, Robin. Welcome back, Doc. Robin's been missing you. They've
Oh,
all been
well, I'm
missing
so
you.
glad to be back.
Lynn. Hello, Lynn. Hello, Elena. Hi, Debs. Hi, Sika. They're all very excited tonight by the look of all their capitals. Hi, Karen. Woo! Elena's received her mug and she's going to do a video for us, are you, Elena? And I'll pop it up on the channel for all to
Well, a
see.
mug video, that I can't wait.
Well, we had the lovely Snow opened her mug and she was so excited. And what it means is that the other lovelies get to see what the other lovelies look like and get to know them a bit better.
Ah,
So it's
I
nice to put
see.
faces to names because they
It
never ask
is.
very
It
well.
is. It is.
Hi, Cal. Hi, Mandy. I love that I can put you on my TV. Elena has us on her television. Hello, Telly. Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. It's lovely to see you all. Hurrah, Elena. I've received mug. Debs has received her mugs. I think everyone should have. They only took 5 days to get to you.
No, it doesn't take very long to come this direction at all. It takes much longer to get there because you guys are very concerned about collecting all your taxes on your end.
Yeah, that's
That's how you do that's your tax system. See, so
yeah,
because of that, it holds everything up to make sure. And I'm not saying it's a good thing or bad thing. I'm just saying it explains it. So
yeah,
over here, since we don't collect any VAT or anything like that, it just goes right through.
yeah. Yeah, no, you
So,
are right. It's not my bad. It's our greedy government's bad.
well, it's not greedy. It's
Well,
just
no, it's
different.
just
It's
yeah,
just
it's just
different.
different. Yeah, you're right. And the wheels are large and they turn slowly.
Oh my goodness! I had somebody the other day wanted to fly from London and have me do a toenail for them. I said, "You look, please don't. You have a healthcare system. It works. Navigate it. But I want you to do it. No, you're not flying to Texas for a toenail. This is. I'm going to say no because you don't need to,
Yeah,
because you've got a great healthcare system. And I talked to lots of people from the UK and they love their healthcare
yeah,
system. And their reply was, well, then why did you do the one you did? Well, that was a different situation. Not every system is perfect, but your system is more than adequate, and you can get this nail done, and I'm sure you'll come out just fine. You know, and it really was. It was just a brand new problem too. It wasn't like they'd been in line and they were serious. You had a serious infection. I mean, it was nothing like that. It was just a regular run-of-the-mill kind of problem. I said, look, love to help you. Here's the best help I can give you. I can direct you back to your own NHS healthcare system, whatever you call it, and go see your doctor, and they can take care of this for you. Okay?
absolutely correct there.
There.
Lynn is saying the mugs are gorgeous. Hi, Cindy. Right, okay, let me show you. Can you, oh, it's not that one. See this in front of my face now? See, I'm moving it about my face. It's in front of my eyes at the moment, and I'm going to put it above my head. That link at the bottom, www.loveyourlife.love, is where you can order the mugs from, Mandy, okay? I might scare everyone and crack your screens, Elena. She's just hysterical, Elena. We think she should be a stand-up comic. Hi, Bonnie. Hi, Chris. It's Chris Badger. Fabulous. Fabulous, fabulous.
So let me get this in real quick. If I owe you a coffee, if I owe you a Sue's Lovely's coffee cup, I have them. I have lots of them.
Woo!
They're here. I put on the screen on my channel my email address. I just need you to send me an email with a physical postal mailing address, and I will send it out to you. I just need an address, okay? So if you were part of that little promotion that I did and you ordered something for me, and I said if you order today right now between the hours of whatever and whatever, just wait, there's more. And you bought something and I owe you a coffee cup, you know who you are. I have a list of names. Send me an email and I will put this in the mail probably to you tomorrow. So I just need to know if you'll give me that address. I just need to know that and I can get it out for you. The DW will take care of that right away. Okay, promise.
And this is Jack's email address, johngilmoremd@mac.com.
That's right, and it's on the screen here. If you're on my channel, you can see it, or Sue just said it. So, anyway, I have a list. So if you didn't, don't try to sneak. You know, I kind of have a list. So.
What are you saying? What are you saying?
You know what I'm saying. There's always one out there.
There's always one. Elena's going to do a free stand-up comic show for us lovelies. Okay, start working on your act, Elena. I expect it just comes flying off the top of your head at every single moment. Actually, is there anything that you have? Because obviously you've been away and we've been chatting about all sorts of things since you've been away. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about particularly?
No, you sent me a list of things that you wanted to talk about, though, and so I thought we could just incorporate that into this discussion today. Number one was how did this all get started? So why don't we just use this today, and you can record it. Can you record? You're recording now, aren't you?
Yeah, I suppose the call recorder is putting it there. But I think we need to just do those as little 10-minute ones so that we can put them up. Because
you want to do them separately? Just you don't want to edit it out?
Oh gosh, I could try and do that. I could try and do that. It's just that nobody can find anything. I've been like pouring through my video. In fact, a lot of people. We talked about bereavement actually a week or so ago. And a lot of people, we talked about the fact that you'd spoken about unresolved grief. And everyone was like, what video is that on? What video is that on? Anyway, it took me a while, but I found it and I've sent it to several people. And one of our lovelies has made an appointment and is going to see a bereavement counsellor. So your talks, that's done some good already. So it's just the not being able to find things, and I think it would be really good to record them separately, but we can talk about them, obviously, and I can see what I can do, but I am not a very good video editor. What on earth has happened? My phone's just switched itself off for some reason.
So the answer to your question then is we just took some time off. Abby had, spring break. She had a week for spring break, what we call here. And she had the weekend before and the weekend at the end. So we took the first weekend, and we have some friends who have a beach house, and they were off to see the mouse, is what we like to say, the Magic Kingdom. They were at Walt Disney World, and so said, Go ahead and use the beach house if you like. So we did for the weekend, and then I came back, and we all came back for 3 days, and they just, the DW and Abby, they just worked on things around here and did stuff, and I worked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Then Wednesday evening, we went back down, and Abby brought a friend with her, and we had Thursday. They didn't want to get out of bed and get up and do stuff, and I went out and went fishing, and just had a beautiful day. Weather was perfect. The flounder were biting all over the place, and I caught all kinds of flounder. That's all I was catching was flounder. It was amazing. But of course, I catch and release, and I had some pictures, but I've already deleted them. Sorry, guys. You don't want to see pictures of flounder anyway, right? I don't. Maybe you do. I don't know. But anyway, so it was just a marvelous day. Got plenty of sunshine and had a good time, and then went back and Abby was going to go out on Friday, and then in comes this northern cold weather, and we ended up with 25-mile-an-hour winds and a 20-degree temperature drop, and so we ended up finding fun things to do around Galveston that did not involve being on the water. But we still had a great time. We really did. It was a good break, and I got those last 2 days of the week off, and that was nice. And so I missed one, two, three of our meetings, and then for some reason I had a medical meeting that I didn't even know about with one of our groups that we work with on Thursday, this last Thursday, so I couldn't make it. So anyway, so here I'm back.
You're back in town, which is fantastic.
Back.
Now,
the only thing I did different for all of that was I skipped one of my fasting days. I skipped the Thursday that I was fishing, but outside of that, everything else stayed the same. Plenty of fresh air, sunshine, whole food, plant-based eating. I need to work a little bit on mushrooms. I think I got behind a little bit on the mushrooms, but outside of that, everything else looking pretty good. Feeling good.
Doing fantastic. Yeah, I've been kind of eating a lot less. I fasted on Thursday unintentionally. I just didn't get around to eating anything. So when it got to the evening, I thought, why don't you just fast today, you idiot woman? So I fasted, and then I kind of didn't really eat anything the next day either. So I've kind of had a few days where it's quite funny because your gut really is empty, and you're like, oh, of course I don't need to go to the loo this morning because I didn't eat anything yesterday. So it's, given my digestive system a rest, and I've managed to do yoga, full on hot yoga.
How's that going? Oh, you are doing the hot yoga. How's that going?
I'm absolutely loving it. Absolutely loving it, Jack. It's just I'm just feel so transformed. I put a post up on Facebook. I'll see if I can find my picture of it. Like when I first started on the 7th of March, I couldn't even sit up straight cross-legged. I was all kind of, hunched over, thinking I was standing up straight until I got to look at myself in the mirror, and I was like really, really, really shocked. And it took probably about 12 days, something like that, for me to be able to, get much better at it. And now, I don't know if you can see this.
It looks painful.
I can do all of these poses, absolutely all of them. I wouldn't say I'm perfect on some of them, but I can actually do all of these poses now. And what I'm finding is that it's made kind of everything you do in life much easier. My body feels really strong. I've now lost 8 pounds in weight. Oh, my phone's gone off. I'm showing you a blank phone.
Yeah, it did.
It's on power saving mode. But things like washing the underneath of your feet in the shower, putting a pair of socks on. I don't even have to bend down to put my socks on. I just lift my knee up to my chin and just put them on.
Okay, wait, when you're in the shower, are you sitting down when you do that?
No.
When you wash the bottom of your feet? Okay, well, so can I ask you to please do me a favor and not stand on one foot in the shower with soap and wash the bottom of your other foot? That's a great way to get a concussion.
Okay.
Okay? Don't do that.
Okay.
Please don't. If you some people have little stools and places to sit in the shower, that's different. You can sit and do that. And I realize you're just trying to demonstrate your flexibility, but I have to deal with people on the other end of those kind of things where they, whoops, and straight onto the head. So
Fair enough.
the bathroom is one of the most dangerous areas in the world.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
I promise you, I am incredibly cautious because I'm the daughter of my father who spots a possible accident happening from 5 weeks previous. So there is no soap in the bath. I'm like autistic about it, but I take your point. So nobody be trying that at home. But it's just like to be able to stand on one leg without wobbling at all, to be as strong as a tree and stand on one leg because you're doing something with your other leg is amazing. Like I was gardening today, so I'm quite knackered because I've been doing lots of gardening, but I found that rather than bending over and kind of curving my spine as I was bending, I was actually bending from the hip. And I had a flat back because the muscles at the small of my back are now so strong. I'm not stretching them and kind of unsupporting them. And I'm able to kind of like lift my tailbone up so that it supports my small of my back. And just like when you're pulling out into another lane driving, I'm just able to completely turn around without having to kind of like use my momentum to get my head back. I can just like turn around. My balance is so much better, and it's just I'm just noticing just like really weird stuff that I wasn't expecting that's benefited from my yoga practice. And I'm absolutely loving it. I feel a lot better and really much more physically strong.
I've locked the shed. I'm going to get a benefit too.
Okay, no, darling. Winky's not very well. Oh dear.
Oh, well, sorry to hear that. Good night, Wink.
Night.
Oh dear. He doesn't feel very well at all. I don't know what that is. He hasn't got a temperature. I felt him.
Yeah.
But he decided to bolt down something. It was homemade fish pie, but I wanted him to have some vegetables with it because that would be better for him if he's fighting off something. But he was just like, no, potatoes are vegetable. I'll be fine. So, yeah, I hope he's okay. He just started just feeling a bit kind of knackered, a bit kind of achy about half an hour ago. Anyway, so he's gone to bed. So yeah, really, really enjoying the yoga. I'm finding it's very steadying and very calming just for the brain. And one thing that's just so amazing that I hadn't really expected is the breathing that you do with yoga is so good for you. My whole rib cage, I can fit more air in my lungs than I think I've ever been able to fit in them before. Kind of breathing from the belly, then expanding the rib cage, then bringing the air right up into the shoulders behind the collarbones. And it's really calming because what I found out, and obviously you'll know this, but I didn't know this and I was all very impressed, is when you breathe in, your heart rate goes up a tiny little bit. But when you breathe out and slowly, it lowers your heart rate. So it calms you down as you're breathing out.
We teach that as an anxiety relieving method. Slow breathing and breathing techniques can actually slow the heart rate and relieve anxiety symptoms in patients. So breathing is, yes, absolutely. So yeah, you're right. We understand that there is a link, and you're experiencing it. I still like that Huff Verhoeven breathing technique thing that you were telling us about that time.
Wim Hof.
I did that once. You know, it was amazing when I did that after I was finished, I felt like I could just sit there and not breathe at all. I felt so over-oxygenated that I didn't need to breathe anymore. It was an amazing feeling.
It is amazing. It's like when I do it, I don't need to take another breath for just over 2.5 minutes. You're just there, just experiencing all the oxygen that you've created with your own lungs. It's pretty amazing. I'm going to be doing a lot more of that, actually. I want to work it into the morning routine because when you've got every cell in your body packed full of oxygen, it really sets you up for your energy for the day. He's just actually done a video about like press ups. He said, you have how many press ups that you can do in a minute or whatever, and how that feels on your body. And what he does is he gets everyone to do the Wim Hof breathing method. Mm-hmm. And on the exhale, so that you're not breathing, to do the press ups. And you literally, everyone can just go faster and harder and longer because their muscles are so full of oxygen. So it's really amazing, actually, really, really amazing. It's so the breathing part of yoga is something that, it's all about, yoga body. And, I love doing it. I love stretching and I love twisting and I like kind of engaging my muscles and kind of feeling the burn from it. I find that quite a pleasurable sensation. But I hadn't figured on the breathing and the whole kind of like calming thing of it all. Which of course everyone knows about anyway, but to experience it's a different thing from kind of sort of knowing about it. So I've got a lot of comments here. I know you're answering some.
I am. We're talking about biotin with Vi, and she's saying, I'm sorry, not Vi, with Cindy Dotson. She was saying that she had heard or was questioning whether too much biotin, which is a B vitamin essentially, can that cause thyroid problems? And the answer is no. However, it can lead to abnormal thyroid tests. So it will fool your doctor into thinking there's something wrong with the thyroid when there's in fact not. So that's
interesting, because I have a question about thyroid as well. I got one of my lovely, she can't come on because she's not feeling very well. She was listening to a meditation thing to go to sleep. She's really not feeling very well. She said, my thyroxine has gone up again and I'm feeling totally rubbish. And then she said, the endocrinologist has said that my blood work, this is probably a first for you, is showing lack of protein. And when I told her I was mostly vegan, she said it was no good for those with thyroid issues. So she's all a bit annoyed that another medical practitioner is telling her off.
Well, that's ridiculous. If you're not getting enough protein, we've done 3 or 4 different menus to show you how easy it is to get plenty of protein in going whole food plant based. So it is possible for you to eat a vegan diet and not get enough protein. It is possible. So make sure you're getting enough of the good stuff. Okay.
Yeah. I will pass that on.
Use those menus. However, that is, that really. That's trivial because it's really difficult to have truly low protein levels. Okay, so only in malnutrition people do we see that, and this is, there are a lot of examples of people that are professional athletes and high endurance athletes that are vegan. So we know that. Yeah. We know that that's not what you're hearing is bunk. Okay, so also if your thyroxine is elevated, that usually makes you feel better. It makes you feel more energetic. It doesn't make you feel lethargic. That's only if those thyroxine levels are low, not high. So either we're getting some bad information, something got lost in the translation, or there's more to the story. So
okay, I just thought I would mention it because. The lack of blood work was showing a lack of protein. I'll find out what she's eating, but she's mainly, she's doing a good job. From what I know. But I'll message her about that. Let's see the comments I got here.
Oh my goodness! I got to tell you this. This Sherry, this was directed at Cindy Dotson, but this is amazing. And I'm presuming, Sherry, that your comment was made by a doctor, but it was suggested to you that your cholesterol was high because of virgin coconut oil you were taking. Is that right? I mean, folks, you don't have to go much past the 3rd grade to understand that there is no cholesterol in plant food. You can't get elevated cholesterol from coconuts. It's impossible. There is no cholesterol. Cholesterol only comes from animals. There's no cholesterol in plant products. There's no cholesterol in trees, coconuts, papayas, oranges, grapefruits, lemons, apples. I don't know. Fill in the blank. There ain't none. It can't happen. Oh my goodness.
They're all saying hello. Hi, Snow.
Sherry, I'm so embarrassed for the medical profession sometimes. It just blows me away. You're eating that coconut oil. That's jacking up your cholesterol. Go back to school.
I know.
These are people making real decisions with your lives, folks. I'm really concerned. I mean, there's a difference between having a lot of knowledge about nutrition and health and having a basic amount of knowledge. I mean, I don't think there's any way you can get through college and have any kind of science-related degree and not understand that there's no cholesterol in plant foods. You know, it's not necessary to label bananas with stickers that say no cholesterol, you know, or cholesterol free. I mean, we don't have to do that. No. Never mind.
Absolutely.
Don't get me going. I'm just my first day back. Don't get me riled. I know what you want to do. You want to get me riled up.
Get you on your little soapbox or your big soapbox. Not that you need a soapbox to stand on because you're so tall. We can see you anyway. Don't need to be getting on that box. Wink needs a box. Leanne's talking about hot yoga and breathing. Core played the clarinet, so breathing into her diaphragm is something that she learned early on, which is a great thing. Maybe that's a good thing to get your kids playing wind instruments so that they learn to use their lungs properly. Because most of us don't use our lungs properly. Yep, Elena, breathing will bring your blood pressure down. They're all talking about that. Right, they're all talking about instruments now. Anyone got any questions for us? Put them in capitals for me, babes. My babies. They're talking about all sorts of things that you can do where you learn to breathe properly, like singing as well. Right, Mandy is asking, can you explain more about the breathing, please, as I have anxiety? Will you explain how that works, Jack?
Well, what we do is we teach people to do basically almost what you were saying to do. When they start to feel anxious, we ask them to control their breathing, to focus on their breathing, to think about their breathing, and to take slower breaths, slow their breathing down, and make their breath deeper. Okay? So it's almost more like a... Okay, so what we ask you to do is you're feeling anxious, you're having all the tingling in your fingertips, numbness and tingling around the lips, dry mouth, blurry vision, heaviness in the chest, palpitations, racing heartbeat, nausea, sometimes tingling in the toes even. And so what we ask you to do is to slow down your breathing. So that slows the heart rate down like you were saying earlier, but it also will slow down the process of the body eliminating too much carbon dioxide, okay? So you're blowing off too much CO2 and you're becoming alkalotic. And as a result, you're starting to feel these symptoms that are part of the anxiety. So we ask you to slow the process down. By slowing the breathing down, you hold on to more of your carbon dioxide and it is relaxing, okay?
I hope that helps you. That was a really good explanation, actually. That was really interesting as well. Snow is asking, were you talking about biotin like what's in hair, skin, and nails?
Yes, I think that's what Cindy Dodson was saying, that she was told that the biotin was causing a thyroid problem. Well, biotin does not cause thyroid problems, but in some cases there is information that the biotin can lead to a falsely abnormal thyroid test, either falsely abnormally elevated or falsely abnormally lowered. Okay, so if you're taking, say, our Cocoa Skin Plus, and all of a sudden, even though you feel fine, that you're getting part of your thyroid panel is coming back abnormal, then you might need to let your doctor know, hey, I'm taking biotin, and they might understand, okay, that they need to not focus on certain parts of the panel, okay, because the entire panel won't be off, just certain parts of it, okay. So as long as they understand what's going on, it's not a problem, all right. If they don't understand and they think it's a problem, then go to Dr. Google and just print out a couple of articles for them and show them that it can cause an abnormal thyroid test and that you don't think there's anything wrong with your thyroid. If you do think there's something wrong with your thyroid, then by all means, stop the biotin for a while. It only takes a few weeks for your body to clear that all out, and have them repeat the test, okay? And then you'll know for sure. But look, biotin in and of itself is not going to cause a thyroid problem, okay?
Okay, cool.
That's a misinformed physician.
Okay, there you have it. Lynn is saying the problem with the thyroid test in the UK is they only do the TFT and not the full panel. I have no idea what that means, but I'm sure you will.
Well, TFT means thyroid function test, which generally, if it's a single value, it's a TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, and it is not a complete test. It doesn't have the T3, it doesn't have T4, it doesn't have T3 uptake. It's missing things. So you need to get a full panel. It's at least 5-item panel, and there are more thyroid tests that you can have added in there, just not necessary.
Right. Okay. Mandy says thank you for the explanation that you gave earlier about the breathing. Hang on, I've gone with about anxiety. So she's saying thank you very much. They're just chit chat.
So far, I've only gotten one mailing address for a mug.
Okay.
So let's remind you, if I owe you a mug, I need you to email me with your mailing address so I can send it to you directly.
Okay.
I have them. Okay.
So
just another
make sure
reminder.
to do that. If they're like me, they won't be able to email you and be on this at the same time because it's a bit of a cross. It's a bit of it's a challenge for me. Right. Elena is saying, why doesn't the UK do proper blood tests? Basically, what happens in the UK is we do not generally do blood works like you lot all talk about all the time. I feel very jealous because, I don't even know my blood group. So we just don't do that as a standard thing. I think if you're not very well, they would do a full blood panel. But they don't do it as, I've never had a medical ever in my life. I've never gone in and had my blood pressure and my heart rate and my blood and how tall are you and breathe into this and can you touch your toes. I don't even know what a medical is. I'm just making it up right now. But it's something we don't do, and I don't know whether it's something we do when you get older. I don't know. I'm 55, but it's just something we don't do generally. And when I rang up a private medical thing to find out if I could have blood works done, it was going to cost something like £300 so that I could.
So let me ask you this: do you have more health fairs? Do you have health fairs where they do random glucose checks to find people with diabetes and random cholesterol checks? I mean, we even have those things where we'll have health fairs, or surely you have people donate blood in the UK. Yep. Most everywhere, if you donate blood, they'll tell you just as a courtesy what your blood type is.
Oh, right. Well, I have donated blood, but I didn't even ask what my blood.
You didn't ask, okay.
We were just trying desperately to get the blood to come out of my veins because it just takes forever. I have to do that all the time.
It's green, right? Isn't your blood green?
Yes. Oh, yeah, it's why my hair's green.
That's right. Spotted. So I think that's a clue as to your blood type. It's G positive. That's your blood type.
E positive. Sue positive.
Yes, I would never put you on your blood type. G positive.
G positive. Hi, Chrissy, babes. Right. Our standard blood test is part of a routine exam. Yeah, Elena, I know that, and I feel it's a shame that we don't have that because I want to be able to tell doctor what all my things are on my blood, but I just can't because I have no idea. So it's not even worth me having it done to see, what eating loads more mushrooms is doing to it. Because I would just love to know what it is, so I can, make them go up and down like a graphic equalizer on a stereo, and just like, I think I'd like more of this. I'm going to eat these foods. Oh, look, I've done it. But anyway, I haven't got that luxury, guys. I can't do it. So you will have to have all that fun for me. Now then, somebody has got a question for you. Lynn is saying, I paid to have the full panel of thyroid blood tests and it was found I don't make T3 from the T4. I don't understand that, but I expect you do, Jack.
Right. Well, we have different forms of thyroid hormone. Okay, some are more active than others, and so that's why a thyroid panel is actually very useful to have more than just one level, right? Okay, so in some cases we do actually add not just T4 thyroxine or levothyroxine, but we'll add triiodothyronine, which is T3. So we have a T3 product. For some people, we add T3, and some people, for most people, we can just treat with T4, and the body will convert. Now, if you are on if you have hypothyroidism, if your thyroid is low, and you have to have thyroid hormone replacement therapy, if you are younger than about 60. The best choice, in this doctor's opinion, is a natural thyroid product, either porcine or bovine, either cow or pig thyroid, desiccated thyroid, because when you take that form of thyroid, it's the only time I'm going to recommend an animal product for you, okay, guys? When you take that as your thyroid, you get T3 and T4, okay? Does that make sense? You get it in a natural form, and it's best if you break the dose up and you take half in the morning and half in the evening. Now, if you take synthetic thyroid like Synthroid, which is the old standby, right? But now there are lots of generics out there too. Then your body has to convert part of that into the active form. But most people do a good enough job with that where it's not important to worry about specifically T3 levels. And the nice thing about the synthetic version is that it can be taken once daily just fine for most people. For some reason, we don't, and it's really, the evidence, I'm not really certain why, but most of the guidelines for therapeutic prescribing don't recommend the natural thyroid products for people later than 60, 65 years old. I'd like to know why. That's a question that's been in my mind for some time. I've never been able to find the answer. Cool. Synthroid versus Armor is absolutely correct, Robin. Armor and Nature-Throid are two brands of the natural animal-based thyroid products here in the U.S., and sometimes availability is limited on those. But you would think that with as many people eating pigs and cows, we'd have lots and lots of that, which just goes to show if we become truly successful at convincing people to become whole food plant-based eaters, we're going to run out of natural thyroid.
That's ridiculous, isn't it? Lynn is saying...
that's an unintended negative consequence.
Oh, gosh, right. We'll have to rein it back then.
Yeah, well, we better slow it down.
Lynn is saying she was on natural thyroid, but now the government have said we can't get it on the NHS. So basically, you need to pay for it if you want to have that, because it's
well, I think that's ridiculous.
Part of our cuts, I'm afraid.
And I've dealt with some insurance companies that don't want to pay for the natural thyroid either because it is a bit more expensive. So I give my patients the option of they can have it if they want to pay the difference. If they want to pay the difference in cost between the generic synthetic and the natural thyroid. Although most of our insurance companies here seem to cover it just fine. So I'm not sure what the difference is. Although I do know the NHS, I believe, negotiates in advance or negotiates up front the cost of medication. So your country as a whole probably saves money by negotiating as a block, for, a whole bunch of medicines. So you might get a really great price on, a particular cholesterol medicine, whereas, and I think Canada does, and I'm pretty sure Canada negotiates that way too. And I wish that in the U.S. Medicare did the same thing. Our Medicare our program is probably as big as the whole population of Canada, and it makes no sense to me that they don't negotiate as a group and try to bring those prices down for our Medicare population.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that does make a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
The lovely Dawn, who is in her hospital bed at the moment, watching. She's been in hospital, I think it's almost 3 weeks now, isn't it, Dawn? And you were in hospital before. She's saying, in the last 3 months, I've had sepsis and cellulitis twice. This time, I've also had viral meningitis. Any suggestions for how I can avoid this happening again?
Is she obese?
I don't think so.
Is the cellulitis in her legs?
Dawn, can you answer that question and we'll come back to you, sweetheart?
Does she have a lot of swelling in her lower extremities, and is that where she's getting the cellulitis? That's my question.
Okay, you come back to me with the answer to that, Dawn. Okay, and we'll get that answered for you, sweetheart. Yeah, she was literally just rushed into hospital, and she's feeling a lot better, but they still won't let her home at the moment. So. What's happening, Leanne? Something. Someone, sorry to hear something from Leanne, but I haven't seen what it is. I get about 75 the minute I'm out of antibiotics and steroids. I wake up the next morning and feel myself backsliding. Chrissy is saying there's zero reason I should be sick still. I get the meds. Chrissy, you probably don't know, poor Chrissy has got wet pleurisy. She's cracked her 10th rib, coughing, and she has pneumonia as well, and she's
good gravy.
I know, it's just like
is this our famous high vitamin D, Chrissy?
This is our famous high vitamin D.
Well, what did she get, the flu?
I don't know what she got to start with, but
I've been gone too long. I mean, you're not supposed. You were well when I left.
I know, bless her.
I expect you to be that way when I come back.
She's saying,
I blame this on you, Sue. I just want you to know.
Okay.
I left them in your charge, and she was well when I left. I take one little vacation, I come back, and she's got cracked ribs, pleurisy, and pneumonia. What have you to say for yourself?
Well,
It's unacceptable.
I have been explaining what it feels like to have pleurisy, as I've had that, but I had dry pleurisy, but I've explained the difference between that. I've been like little Dr. Sue while you've been away, but I have been going... But as you know, I'm not a doctor. I've been saying that all the time.
But you know one in Texas.
You'd be proud of me.
Just say, I'm not a doctor, but I know one in Texas.
I know
so let
one
me
in
tell
Texas.
You what I think.
Yeah, and I think this is what Jack would say. No, I haven't said that. She's saying, I get the meds and I get about 75% better. And the minute I'm out of antibiotics and steroids, I wake up the next morning and she can feel her health going backwards again. What do you think she's not on a long enough course of antibiotics?
I'm not sure what's wrong with her. I'm not sure if she's dealing with a serious virus. If this started out as the flu and she's got flu pneumonia, it's just going to have to run its course, and she'll probably need to be on steroids longer. If she truly has bacterial pneumonia and she's been sick this long, she probably belongs in the hospital. But my guess is she doesn't. My guess is she has a viral pneumonia of some kind, and she's just having this perpetual cough. And we deal with this. I've had some patients that have been in and out over this long winter, and we just got them over their viruses, and then in blew all the pine, oak, and cedar pollen, and they're all back in with, Doc, I just got over it, and now I'm coughing again, and people think I've got the plague. And it's like, don't worry, I'll put you on, I put them on prednisone. I put them on a 20-day taper dose of Dr. Gilmore's prednisone taper. I invented my own taper, so I give it to them, and usually they don't come back until the next season after I've given that to them because it works so well. But sometimes when you have pneumonia and you have a viral pneumonia, it can literally go on for 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And if you're retaining fluid in your lungs, one of the best things you can do is you can work with a respiratory therapist, and they can try some postural drainage with you where they turn you and then whack on your back and help you cough some of that sputum up. Take Mucinex, which is a decongestant. Be sure, whatever you do, if you have viral pneumonia or you have pneumonia, do not take an antihistamine, please. I beg of you. if you get one thing from this conversation today, if you have pneumonia, don't take an antihistamine like Claritin, Benadryl, Allegra, Zyrtec. Those will thicken the mucus and make it stick. You'll have tenacious mucus and make it very difficult to get rid of the sputum you need to remove. So get yourself Sudafed if you can tolerate it, or Mucinex if that's the one that you need to use. But you get some kind of decongestant and drink lots of fluid so you can cough this stuff up, okay? Use cough syrups or medications to help you sleep, and take your medicines. And you know, sometimes it just takes time. Most often, if you have bacterial pneumonia and you've got pleurisy and you're hypoxic, you need to be in the hospital. But it sounds to me like what Chrissy has is probably not bacteria. It's probably viral, and that's probably why the medicines don't seem to work. And the only thing that makes her feel better is the steroids, because they're keeping the inflammation in the lungs down. So I would say she probably just needs to be on steroids longer. Make sure she's using her inhalers. Okay, if they've given her albuterol or Zopanex or something like that, make sure she's doing a good job of getting the inhalers, getting the medicine into her chest, not just in the mouth. It has to go all the way in. Okay. And use a cool mist humidifier. That can sometimes help, with the lungs. And if need be, stay on those steroids.
Thank you very much indeed. I've got the answers back from Dawn, who's in hospital. You asked her about whether she got the swelling in her leg. She said, yes, in my leg. I have lymphedema too from age 16. And she says, yes, I'm a curvy lady. I've spent 8 or 9 weeks in hospital in the last 3 months.
So that's her problem. And her problem is that she's not mobilizing fluid well enough. And as a result, she's got what we call lymphedema, which means that she has a lymphatic system. We all have a couple of circulatory systems, right? We have one circulatory system that moves blood throughout the body. We're all familiar with that one, right? Sue's is type green positive, right?
Yeah.
But there's another circulatory system that we have. It's called the lymphatic system. And as blood is being pumped into the lower extremities especially, some of the fluid will leak out. We have this continual leakage. Well, that's collected and brought back up through the lymph system that goes through lymph nodes, right? And it's all collected and it dumps off into the liver and it goes into different places in the body, and that fluid's put back into the other circulatory system. Well, if you have a problem where the lymphatic system is not functioning properly, then you're going to have fluid that pools. It's going to slow down and it's going to hang out, and there are going to be a bunch of different compounds, and bacteria might get in there and they'll hang out and they'll say, hey, let's have a beer. No, I'm having a margarita. Hey, bring some more of your friends in. And the more bacteria that you get in there, the more likely you are to have an infection. And that's all an infection is a critical level of bacteria that the body's immune system can't handle anymore. So people that maintain a lot of fluid in the lower extremities or have lymphedema are more likely to get cellulitis, which is a skin infection under the skin, okay? So whenever I hear about somebody getting recurrent cellulitis, almost always it involves the lower extremities, and if it's both legs, it's usually more of a circulatory problem. If it's one leg, it's usually more of like a lymphedema problem, and sometimes they need to see a specialist who can use a laser and help improve circulation. But one of the best things that we can do once you get the infection taken care of is you've got to get the fluid off your lower extremities. Use wraps, use TED hose, use compression stockings. Keep your feet elevated. Stay out of recliners. Don't drink fluids with salt. Don't add salt, because if you do, it's going to make you retain fluid. So in these cases where I get especially folks that are a little bit older, they come in and they've got sponges for legs, and I can put my fingerprints in. Does this hurt? It hurts a little bit, and I'm actually, we call that pitting edema. And when you have that situation, I really work with them. We use diuretics to get the fluid off. We talk to them about not putting the salt in the food, but also using wraps. You can just start at your foot right here, right over here, and you can just wrap with an ace wrap and bring that all the way up, right? And wrap it as high as you can, nice and tight. And it'll help squeeze that fluid out. And if it starts to feel loose after an hour, take it off and wrap it a little bit tighter. The compression stockings, a lot of people don't like because they can be a little bit painful when you first put them on. Plus, it can be very difficult to get them on because they're tight and you're swollen, right? Imagine if you've twisted your ankle and you're trying to get it all a boot back on, right? Your ankle's swollen up, you can't get your boot back in there. It's the same kind of thing with compression stockings. So I tell people, look, if you can't get your compression stockings on, use wraps. Go ahead and spend $8 and get a couple of good ACE wraps, which stands for all cotton expandable. If you ever wondered what ACE meant in an ACE wrap, that's what it is. They make them today with Velcro, right? So you just wrap tightly and you Velcro it down and they hold in place and it'll squeeze those fluids. But if you work on this every day, you can improve this lower extremity edema or swelling, and you'll be less likely to get cellulitis or infections because you've reduced the pooling of that fluid like we talked about, okay? So that's why when you said she's in the hospital again with cellulitis, the first light bulb that went off in my head is, there it is.
Yeah. Lower
extremity edema.
That is brilliant. She's just said she's been told twice now she was lucky to be found in time, and it's quite scary for her as she lives on her own. Get wrapping those legs,
She needs
baby.
a button. She needs a button. Help, I've fallen and can't get up button. Okay,
there's some advice for you, sweetheart. Right, I have above there. I hope that was help. I know that will have been helpful. Right, Mandy, who you talked about the breathing, and she suffers from anxiety. She said she's been getting palpitations when she's resting for no apparent reason. Should I get this examined at my doctor's?
Well, if she's just having palpitations or is she having racing heartbeat, they're different.
Right, Mandy, if you can answer that question, we will come back to you, sweetheart.
So some people, they call palpitations where they can actually feel their heart rate. It feels like it's sort of pounding, or they feel like they're skipping beats. And then there are other people that are just sort of sitting there and they will have, it's just going fast. So different question, different symptoms. One we call tachycardia, and the other one we do call palpitations. And so some of it we can explain, and some of it needs to be investigated because we might need to treat a possible arrhythmia with medication.
Right. Okay. That's excellent. Oh, Sandy is saying, apparently here in the UK, once we reach 50, we get a well women's check, and then every 5 years.
You're behind schedule. You should have already had your colonoscopy,
I missed that telegram. So, right, yeah, I really must, I'm in between doctors at the moment because I haven't filled out the forms that I need to. Hi, Linda Babes. Hi, Seeker as well. Somebody else came on that I didn't have a chance to say. My back is doing great. So I know a few of you have asked. Hi, Kerry. How are you doing? Goodness me. Right. Mucinex on generic Mucinex on Amazon. I don't know what that is, but I think you might have been talking about that.
Yeah, right, we mentioned when we were talking about Chrissy's cough.
Yeah,
we talked about Mucinex and Sudafed instead of antihistamines.
Right. Okay. Chrissy said thanks, and she's going to go back for some more prednisone. And Kerry is saying that's fantastic advice. Elena is saying she was shown how to rub her lymph nodes through physical therapy to help kind of the movement of the fluid in the lymphatic system, and
that works. Yeah. That's what they do at lymphedema centers, is they actually will sort of milk the fluid back, but you get the same effect by using wraps or compression stockings. But yeah,
that's cool. I had Dawn saying I had compression stockings for a few years, which worked great, but when I moved to Liverpool 3 years ago, my doctor thought I didn't need them again. I continued to wear them till the zips broke. Get some more, Dawn. Get some more, babes. That's my advice to you. Just get
You're looking for about a good compression stocking will have about 10 to 15 millimeters of mercury of pressure. I usually recommend, unless somebody has extensive swelling up that goes above the knee, I like them to be below the knee, and I like for them to have open toes. So typically, I will prescribe compression stockings, 10 to 15 millimeter mercury, open toe below the knee. That's usually what my prescription reads.
Okie dokes. There you go. And that's at if you didn't get all that down, we're an hour in, so you can fast forward to get that information again. She's going to look into wraps. Yeah, I think a lot of massages, you know, the way they massage the body, it's all to help circulation and the lymphatic system. You know, there's lots of types of massage therapy you can have for that, but I know massage therapy costs a lot of money. But you know, it's working with the body, and I know a lot of the things that they used to do in Indonesia were working to kind of get, you know, just to get the blood moving towards the heart, or you know, and all that sort of stuff. So Elena said her doctor also gave her water pills, and it got the liquid off fast.
Right, that's a diuretic, and we use those sometimes as well, yes.
Okay, there you go. My sister had cellulitis in her ear when her psoriasis got infected. She was so ill. Oh, gosh, Lindsay, I'm sorry to hear that. Sister Gary, yeah. Ada, the lovely Ada. My husband and I were real sick 3 weeks ago. Now we have a cough and spitting out mucus. I remembered what the doc said before, and I've been taking Robitussin. Is that right? DM.
Robitussin.
There you go. I am absolutely officially pants at saying drug names. Oh,
well,
goodness. Apparently in the UK, when you turn 60, you get a bowel screening as well.
Yeah, that's too late. That should be done sooner.
Oops. Well, I haven't even had my well woman's thing yet. This is no good. Right. Okay. I keep the legs in the heart. Right on Curry. Right. Mandy is saying it's more like palpitations she's getting when she's laying down resting.
Okay. Well, she might want to go have that investigated, have an EKG done, or a 72-hour Holter monitor. Most of the time, palpitations don't mean anything, but it is important to get it checked out because sometimes it can be a sign of a rhythm problem. So that's something she does want to go see her family doctor for, and get some tests done.
Cool. Lynn is asking if I could please ask you, do you have to take the socks off overnight, the compression socks?
That's the best time to wear them. But yes, you can take them off. You can take them off overnight as long as you put them on first thing in the morning.
So is it actually good to wear them at night?
It's better to wear them most of the time if you need to. All right. So everybody's a little bit individualized and how often they need to wear the compression stockings. Some people with really serious lymphedema need to wear them pretty much continuously. Some people with just mild peripheral edema can get away with putting them on maybe in the afternoon and wearing them until bedtime. Others, maybe they just need to wear them during the day. So everybody's different. What you want to do is wear them enough so that you don't maintain fluid buildup on the legs. So you don't want to wear them more often than you need to, but you want to wear them as often as enough. You want to wear them enough.
Cool.
So
did you sleep with your legs elevated on a couple of pillows or something like that?
And that's another thing too. And I usually, whenever I tell people not to sleep in recliners, usually somebody says, "Hey, wait a minute, what?" Because recliners don't work. All right. If you're in a recliner, your rear end is down too low. Your feet are actually not high enough compared to your heart, so you don't get a good return of fluid.
You're like that, aren't you? In a recliner.
That's right. So I get a lot of people that come in and they're like, well, my feet are up all the time. I'm in the recliner watching John Wayne and whatever. But here's the thing. You can get on a couch and you can put your feet up on a couple of pillows. You can get in bed, put your feet up on a couple of pillows. You can get on the floor and put your feet up on a chair. That works. You know, if you can do that for an hour or so, and that'll pull some fluid off, and that's enough for you, then fantastic. But generally speaking, that's not enough. So for some of my older patients, what I have to do is a combination of things. I'll have to put them in compression stockings. I'll have to ask them to reduce their water intake, because all of a sudden somebody will have told them they're not drinking enough water, and they'll start drinking a whole lot of water, much more than their body, their kidney, and their heart can get rid of. So I'll have to tell them, how much are you drinking? I want you to drink 2 cups less. Whatever you've been drinking, drink 2 cups less. And then I'll give them a mild diuretic to take in the morning to help again with the fluid. But if I can get them to just do the basic things like fluid retention and compression stockings, typically that's enough.
Cool. Right. I am not tapping, and I don't think Dr. G is tapping either. They're saying there's some tapping sound going on. My hands are here. Right. Chrissy is asking, how does obesity and leg swelling relate?
Well, look, the heart is a muscle, and it can only work so hard, and it has to push blood through whatever amount of body mass we have, and this goes for very muscular people too. So we see people they develop heart failure, where the heart can't do the job because it's got to do too much work, in these really big bodybuilders as well. So the relationship is the kidneys only work when the heart pushes blood through the kidneys. If the body is way too big, then the amount of pressure by the time the blood gets to the kidneys, it drops off. And so the kidneys don't function as well. And so weight loss is one of the best things that you can do if you're having fluid retention.
There we go.
And it's also why I get to tell these 260-pound bodybuilders that they're obese, and they say, what are you talking about? It's all muscle, doc. And then I get to tell them, guess what? Your heart doesn't care.
Gosh, I didn't know that. I did not know that.
It's not healthy being that big, even if it's muscle. That's not healthy.
Well, we're not supposed to look like that, are we?
No, of course not. Most of them are using steroids and to get that big, but that's not healthy.
That's interesting, because you do hear about these kind of people that are in the gym, lifting weights, and they're kind of muscle bound, if you like.
Right.
Actually having heart failure, dropping.
That's right. They have heart attacks. They have heart failure. They get cardiomyopathies. They get enlarged heart. They get a lot of cancers. Why? Remember how we talked about why it was so important to fast once in a while to stop that growth cycle? When you stay in a continuous growth cycle, cancer cells will pop up and they just start growing, and you never give your body a chance to restore and repair. Right?
Yeah.
That was on that fasting video we talked about.
Yeah. Absolutely. Gosh, I hadn't put that together. I had no idea that, the heart didn't care whether it was muscle or fat or what it was. It just struggles if it's too much mass, full stop. Wow, that's really interesting. Hi, Cal. Right, Kel is saying pretty much the same thing. She learned how to massage and wrap her lower extremities for her lipedema. Her lipedema was pretty severe for a couple of years after surgery. Anything? Thank you. Right, Mandy is saying thank you so much for all the information. And Lynn is saying steroids really make your weight go up fast. Yeah, I think they do, don't they, steroids?
They sure can. They sure can.
So I just think, eat as healthily as you can. Do take part in the fasting. Obviously, unless it's a type 1 diabetic that can't fast, isn't it? And if you've got an eating disorder like anorexia or bulimia.
Or if you're pregnant.
or if you're pregnant. Okay, none of that lot if you're pregnant. So the more healthy that you can be, the better all of these symptoms will be. And if you can get your weight down, Dawn, sweetheart, that will really help you. And I think the thing is, like Chrissy's been really unwell recently, and in fact quite a lot of my lovelies aren't well at the moment, and my own husband's gone crawling up the stairs to bed feeling all, I don't know what's wrong with him, but I expect he's cold. He doesn't feel hot at all, but I shall see him later. Well, he'll probably be asleep now anyway. He falls asleep in 30 seconds. But the interesting thing that I kind of keep thinking about is how much sicker would the people that aren't very well at the moment be if they'd still been eating processed sugars, processed food, meat products, eating a bad diet. I just think, it's lucky that a lot of you are doing have made lots of healthy changes in your life, because it does help you. If you're giving your body some armor to fight these things with, you have more energy to fight illness if you're eating a good diet, don't you think?
Well, I think so, but I think one of the things we should keep in mind is the kind of diseases that we're trying to prevent, but with our diet, are chronic diseases, from diabetes to hypertension to coronary vascular disease. We're not talking about the flu virus, guys. You're still at risk. Now, if you're doing the intermittent fasting, then you do have an expectation that you should be less susceptible to these airborne viruses and things, because your immune system will be more supercharged. I haven't had a touch of anything, and I've been seeing flu patients, all day long. It's just been crazy this is the worst flu season I've seen in a decade. Okay.
Wow.
And I haven't even had a scratchy throat. I feel fantastic. And so, look, everybody's different. Our experiences are different. I get exposed to lots and lots and lots of communicable diseases, and I like to think that my immune system's got a tremendous memory and is able to fight off this stuff. But I like to also think that the fasting that I'm doing is helping as well. So whole food plant-based with intermittent fasting works for me. What works for you might be different. But this, for a lot of you, this is relatively new. And eating, your diet and your outlook are all important. But if you're just susceptible to a certain strain of the flu that has mutated and it's come your way, you're going to get the flu. If you get the flu, get on the flu medicine. The flu medicine works, and rest, get well. The thing about the flu is that I tell people, look, take your Tylenol, take your Advil, alternate them every 3 hours, take the other one. So take 2 Tylenol, 3 hours later, take a couple of Advil, 3 hours later, go back to the Tylenol. So it's 6 hours between doses of the same medicine, but 3 hours between doses of something. And they'll take the aches and pains, the fevers and chills away. You'll get your energy back. You'll feel like doing things. Then drink enough fluids till you have to go to the bathroom about every hour and a half, and stay home and rest. If you don't rest, you're not going to get well. And the ones that stay sick the longest are the ones that try to fight right through it and get right back into their jobs or get right back into activity. They need to rest and get well. And that's what I tell them. So I'll give them a week off from work for the flu. Look, take a week off and get well, because if not, you're going to be back in here in 2 weeks and you're still going to be sick with the flu, and you're going to think, why am I still sick? I'll tell you why. Because you didn't rest.
Yeah.
You didn't get well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the interesting thing that you said there is that the fasting helps the immune system, but I think the healthier the diet you eat and the healthier the lifestyle you have, the stronger your immune system is. So you don't catch these things in the first place because you're kind of, armor plated from it a little bit. And some people are more susceptible to things. My sister's always getting something with them. My brother and sister, we have different mothers but the same father. They're always, they're getting things in the throat. My sister's had loads of food. I've never had food poisoning. And also my sister's children, they pick up things from nursery, whereas Finian never picked up anything from nursery. you know, he's virtually never had a day sick in his life until a lot of ready meals started getting given to him by a certain husband when I was like doing my vegan stuff this time last year. And I wasn't really paying attention to what Finian was eating, so I was all focusing on myself like a naughty mummy. You know, and I think, you know, I mean, there's families in my village. It's just like they'll have, nearly all the people in my village have 3 children. It must have been like, you know, a new trend or something. They've all got 3 children. And literally, one kid would have it, then the other kid would have it, then the mum would have it. Then the dad would be all right. Then the third kid would get it. Then the dad would go down with it. And then finally they were back at school. And then one of the kids would get an ear infection. And then another one would get... And literally, I know people who... Literally their children are ill all the time. You can't put anything in the diary and plan to go anywhere because one of the kids will be sick. And it's just like, that just must be so exhausting. You know, you know, and everyone's, you know, fairly, you know, concerned about what they, you know, the kids in the village aren't obese. None of the children had Coca-Cola or anything like that when they were at primary school. I don't know what they do now. I'm sure they're all drinking in the pub if they're all 17, or probably pretending they're old enough to drink in the pub. Obviously not my son, because he's made a vow he's never going to drink alcohol. But, you know, it's interesting. You know, I think some people just are more susceptible to catch things than others. But I think, you know, the best thing you can do is whatever you can do for your immune system, so that, you know, you wouldn't go out in the pouring rain naked. You know, you would at least have something waterproof on. You know, you'd take an umbrella with you or something. You wouldn't go out in the snow in your bikini. You would put something warm on. But we don't think of our immune system like it's actually a thing that's busily protecting us from something that's coming at us. So just, you know, just have a think about that, because I think, you know, my son played in the dirt. If I drop something on the kitchen floor, it just goes back on the plate. I don't use chemicals to clean my house. It's just like, you know, just like whatever we did, you know, 200 years ago to clean things, you know, just wipe up the mess. There's no disinfectant in my home. I've never used any of that stuff. And my son will not get what everyone else in the school has. He just doesn't catch them. And I was a big believer in, well, my granny used to say it'll take a ton of dirt to kill you. And that would have to be dropped on your head from a great height. So, you know, I was very much like that. You know, and you know, maybe I'm of a very strong constitution. I don't know, because I literally have been blessed with virtually never being ill, just virtually never being ill. And if I do catch something, you know, everyone else will be throwing up and they'll have it for a week, and I might have diarrhea twice and a bit of a sore tummy and feel a bit hot for half an hour, and then it's gone with me. You know, I get a very mild form of things that I catch. So, you know, that's just, I just thought I'd throw that out there, Jack, as just my little common sense advice there with no medical background whatsoever.
Well, common sense is common, and I think that it's not as common as it ought to be, but yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Lori Presolowski says polar dips in Canada swimsuit in the snow dip in the lake or the ocean. I'm not sure if she's suggesting we not do that or we do that. But I'm all for videos.
Excellent. They actually have a thing where I think, I don't know if it's on Christmas Day, but it's on a very cold time when everybody swims in the Serpentine, which is a river or a lake or something in one of the parks in London, and quite often they have to smash the ice with their bodies as they go in, and it happens, they do it every year, this little swim in their trunks in the ice. But you know, Wim Hof has a whole load of, like, is massively into cold therapy as well. There's been loads of information. That's WIMHOF. He's the breathing guy that we've mentioned lots of times now. Carrie is saying, I feel medication is important as well. Rest, yes, rest your body and mind once a day. Take 15 minutes to yourself. It helps. Dr. G has a great point in resting. Yeah, you can't. Just think about it, If you don't recharge your telephone's battery, it ain't gonna work. Even our electrical devices.
Especially if it's got the flu virus.
Yeah, exactly. They're all talking about the flu shot. Of course, I never took your advice and got the flu because I still haven't changed doctors yet. I must do that. I'm just so naughty with admin.
Wait a minute. I think I missed a question from Violet.
Okay. Hi, Violet.
And I'm scrolling back up. I tried to answer questions as I went, but I may need... Okay, Violet, copy it. Copy the question and... Oh, she had to get by. Okay, just copy your question and paste it back in and I'll get to it. I promise. I won't do any other questions until I see your question.
Okay.
Because I've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4 emails on the coffee mugs.
Yep, Chrissy said she sent one.
So if you have not sent me your email and you think you're due a coffee mug,
there you go. It. You need to send it. Mandy was asking about fasting, as in just taking in water. Yeah, that's what we do when we fast. Basically, you wake up in the morning and the only thing that goes through your lips is your toothbrush and water, or something that doesn't have any calories in it, like herbal tea or something like that. And then you carry on like that, and then when it's time to go to bed, you go to bed, and that is like a 24-hour fast. We've been doing 24-hour fasts twice a week, although Jack has done some 2 and 3 day fasts depending on what he's up to. She's Mandy, this is the lady with anxiety that you spoke about.
Okay.
She's saying so that hopefully I've answered the question on fasting. And how long is it best to do it for?
Well, that's a great question. I think everybody needs to kind of decide that for themselves. You can fast a lot longer than you believe you can fast. I can tell you that. If you are underweight, you should probably not fast too often. But for most of us, that's not a problem, right? I would say that starting out, maybe fasting 2 days a week, split out, kind of like what we do. We usually recommend a Monday and a Thursday fast for those that want to fast. And for most people, that seems to work out all right because it gives you the Friday, Saturday, Sunday weekend to enjoy. It gives you a couple of days between the Monday and Thursday to recover. And you can still do your job. It's not like you're doing a multi-day fast. So, for most of us, Monday's a fairly rotten day anyway. Usually, might as well fast. It's Monday. I'm not doing anything else anyway. And then by doing your second one on Thursday, you get it out of the way for the weekend. So it gives your body that opportunity to go through the whole cycle of removing all the glycogen from your liver and using that for energy for that 24, 30-hour period from the time you go to bed until the time you wake up the day after, right? Yeah. So it's actually a little bit more than 24 hours, more like 30 hours. And then restore everything, and then you go through it again. So your body's designed to do that. And giving yourself a chance to live off of what's in energy stores gives you a chance to lose some weight, number one, if you're trying to do that. But it also gives you an opportunity to stop growing and stop the growth process and to turn on the restoration and repair part of our genetic structure to help fight things like cancers and lipids being too high and help the body remove cholesterol deposits in the arteries and help regenerate the kidneys and a lot of healing can take place. So we recommend it, and we think it's a very important part of being healthy. We really do. In almost every culture, there is fasting. Fasting is taught in almost every major religion. And it is very good for the body. It's good for the soul. It's good for the spirit. It's good for the body. And if you have an eating problem like I do, and you're an admitted overeater, it helps you stay in control of eating. And so it helps me stay safe. It helps me stay where I am right now with my weight, because whole food plant-based doesn't mean I can't overeat. Okay, I can do it. I promise you. Yeah. But when I do my fasting, it helps me kind of stop. It helps me kind of break that cycle a couple of times a week, and it's become routine for me. It's just part of my life. So tomorrow I won't eat anything. I'll wake up in the morning. I get black coffee. I take my Meta 7 and my multivitamin, and I take some turmeric, and I'll take my baby aspirin and my hair, skin, and nails, and that's it. I may not even drink anything the rest of the day. I may have 1 cup of water in the afternoon. But what's happening is, it's amazing to even think about it. But when you hear the word carbohydrate, do you even think about the part of the word that says hydrate? That's water. When your sugar is stored in your body, it holds a lot of water. So as that's being broken down, you're shedding water. So you're going to actually be producing water while you're fasting. Mm. This is what I've learned is if I drink water on the days that I fast, I have to get up at night to go to the bathroom. I don't have to get up any other nights to go to the bathroom unless I'm fasting and I drank water. So usually I might drink some fluids in the morning. I might have an extra cup of coffee, or I might have some tea, or I might just have some water. But after about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I won't drink anything, because if I do, I promise you, I will not get to sleep all night tomorrow night. So I just don't. But see, that just goes to show you these people that are doing these keto diets, and they cut the carbs out. So what's their body do? Their body immediately eliminates the glucose that's stored in their liver and all the water that holds. So they may get rid of a gallon of water or a gallon and a half of water. Their first 12 to 15 pounds is just water that they're getting rid of. Yeah. That's just, and I go through this cycle every week, twice a week, and then the next day, as I'm allowing myself to eat carbohydrates again, the water's going back in as part of the glycogen storage in the liver, right? So I like to weigh myself just once a week, the morning after I've fasted, and that's the weight I use.
Well, that's the first. That's why all these, I lose X pounds in 1 week doing this thing, Okay. And it's water, it's like, and because you lose loads of weight straight away when you start reducing your calorie because you let go of a load of water, you think, oh, this is magic, it works. It's rubbish. It's water leaving your body. It's not fat leaving your body. Somebody has said I'm naughty and I must start again doing that tomorrow. I have no idea what that is about. Lynn is saying, Lynn caught MRSA in the hospital when she had an operation and was under the care of community nurses for a year. It's dreadful. Oh, I'm so sorry for you, Lynn, sweetheart. Wonder Woman is on. Hello, baby. Great. Okay, they're all talking about jumping in freezing water. Mandy's asking, maybe silly question, but how much water should I take in during fasting? Well, I think we've actually just answered that one. It does help as you're getting used to it, because you think you're hungry, and I would say 70% of the time when we think we're hungry, we're probably thirsty, because our bodies aren't very good at telling us we're thirsty. You don't always get a dry mouth when you're thirsty. Sometimes you just have a general hunger feeling, and if you drink a glass of water and then you're not hungry anymore, it means you were thirsty. So I found drinking, it gave my stomach something to do when I was kind of going, oh, I'm feeling hungry. But I find, like, when I did my second kind of almost full day of fasting, I just didn't get hungry at all the next day. I felt like I could have just gone on endlessly without eating. Probably that's a bit of an exaggeration, but once you get past it, you don't feel hungry, do you, on Monday and Thursday, Jack?
No, I don't get hungry at all.
Yeah, I didn't get hungry at all on Thursday when I fasted. I was so busy being busy and enjoying what I was doing that I didn't think about eating or doing anything, and then it got to the evening and it was just like, it was about 8 o'clock and I thought, right, I haven't eaten anything all day, I should do something. I just thought, actually, you're not hungry, just let's call it a fasting day. So I've had quite a few of those accidental fasting days, and most of them I've eaten something with wink in the evening when actually I wasn't hungry. But yeah, I want to get back into more fasting, particularly with my yoga journey, because I think it will be really good for me, and I think I will enjoy it more even. Okay. Like they're talking about MRSA. It's a nasty little infection, that is. Just having a look. They're talking about weather. Yeah, you're right there, Lynn. When you go to saunas, you sweat a lot and you lose a lot of bodily fluid, but not weight. So that's another red herring there. Apparently I'm right. Thank you, Snow. It's always good to know that. What time to move? Right. Right, they're talking about. Have you got any other medical questions? And I know, Jack, you had some questions you wanted to answer, didn't you? That you said you wouldn't answer another one.
I'm trying to type this up right now for Vi. She's getting this really strange reaction to watermelon. I'm trying to understand what's going on as to what could be causing it.
Is it an itchy or sore mouth?
No, she's getting like a sulfuric burping kind of reaction, but I think she has a hiatal hernia. And as a result, that could cause what she's experiencing. Anyway, it's going to be almost impossible to know. She might have H. pylori. She could have an infection in the stomach that could lead to that. I'm going to type that in here. You should be tested for H. pylori. But anyway, I do the best I can with the information I have. So
yeah, you do. You do. And you guess, you go, I'm guessing it's this, or this. And they'll go, yes, it is that and that. You kind of, you have a good hunch. Carrie is asking, how is MRSA picked up?
Well, MRSA, methicillin-resistant Staph aureus, is almost always a hospital or healthcare environment-acquired infection. We see it it's one of the reasons why we ask people to be sure they complete their antibiotics, because if you don't, you're more likely to develop resistant strains of bacteria, including staph. So MRSA just means methicillin-resistant Staph aureus. So staph is in the environment, it's everywhere. But resistant forms of staph seem to hang out in hospital wards and places where people are on antibiotics. And if you think about it, it makes sense, because the bacteria, the weaker bacterias are being destroyed by the antibiotics, but these resistant forms that sort of pop up from time to time just aren't affected, and so they're allowed to. So they're able to grow. So they don't really. They're not really a problem in the community, but they are a problem in healthcare environments. So you're not likely to get MRSA, being around a group of people. But if you're in a hospital setting and you have a nurse going room to room who maybe doesn't wash her hands very well, or a doctor who doesn't wash his hands or her hands very well, then you can get our pronouns right here. A person could carry methicillin-resistant staph around, and so there have been some hospital systems that have had to go through complete renovations because they couldn't get rid of MRSA infections, because it can get in the walls, it can get in the floors, and get in the ceiling tiles. It can get in lots of places. This is why I tell people you don't want to be in a hospital any longer than you absolutely have to be, because every day you're there increases your risk of having what we call an iatrogenic infection, or a nosocomial infection, which is doctor or healthcare caused infection. So you don't want to be in the hospital any longer than you ever have to be.
So that's where I got my MRSA from then, from all those clinics I visited. I didn't realise that.
Yeah, could be.
Could be, yeah.
That's probably where you got yours. Yeah. Well, I think are we time to wrap it up?
I think so. I think it's and we've been going an hour and a half now. Elena's just asking, have you noticed more MRSA cases from 30 years ago, like now from like 30 years ago?
I haven't been practicing medicine that long.
Okay.
I'm not that old, thank you very much.
What about 20 years ago then?
I would say yes.
Getting yourself whipped about the place, Elena, for thinking that.
Okay, so the difference being is that we have more antibiotics that we reserve exclusively for hospital use to combat these more resistant strains of bacteria. So they're less likely to get into the community, and so even though we probably see more of it, it's not as big a scare as it was 15 years ago.
Right. Okay.
It's not as concerning. We have more tools. Have you frozen? Oh, there you are.
No, I haven't. I'm all for you. Haven't either. Everything's fine. Okie doke. So I know there are a bunch of you on. There's 18 of you still on. I know some of you have come on and gone away and everything. If you have enjoyed or found value in this, do give us a thumbs up. That would be really lovely. It would be nice to see some of those. And do spread the word, because I know lots of you are feeling a lot better. Okay, I know a few of you are unwell at the moment. But I know a lot of you are feeling a lot more energy and a lot healthier and a lot happier with yourselves than you did back at the end of October when we started this journey. So do give us some thumbs up and do let people know what we do. Okay.
So what time are we doing this on Thursday now? Because I know we still have a time change thing.
Yeah. So we're going to carry on at the normal time. So it'll be 6 p.m. Texas time, but it will be 11 p.m. UK time.
Okay, that's good.
Oh, I've just got a thumbs down. Thanks for that, babes.
That was me.
That was you. Yuck! You're so naughty. Okay. Mwah. Lots of love to you. I will see you soon. Bye.
Right. Bye, guys.
I'll give my love to Wink for sure. Thanks, sweethearts. You're still